As a creator, you're bound to experience slumps. There are going to be times where you're not motivated, or you feel like your work isn't innovative enough. Perhaps you feel like you don't possess the creativity to do anything. I'm going to give you some actionable steps to help you overcome that and boost your creativity. This is the first installment in a series called Tips for Creators, where I draw on my experience in the industry and share some of my insights I've picked up over the years with you guys. Let's get started. The first thing you want to do is find a way to take notes. So be that on your cell phone, on a laptop, perhaps a small little pocketbook. I personally use this. It's a pretty big book. All of my ideas go right in here. The next step is to set an intention. The reason that this is so important is that it gives your mind a framework to operate within. Let's use the example of setting the intention to shoot better portraits. Now, on an ordinary day, you might be walking along the street and completely miss the beautiful lighting or the person who has fantastic features for portraiture. But however, because you've primed your mind by setting the intention to shoot better portraits, you're going to start subconsciously taking note of these things. In a sense, you've already started boosting your creativity. Now on to the next step. Next up, you want to start looking for information. This is really important as it builds on that framework you've already set in your mind when you set your intention. Don't just aimlessly look for inspiration though. Use this as an opportunity to take notes on the portrait you're taking a look at. Note the things you like, note the things you dislike. This is going to help inform the new creative process and the new creative vision that you're busy forming in your mind. The next part of the process ties in with the phase of looking for inspiration, and that's breaking the routine. If you're regularly going to Instagram to try and find portrait inspiration, why not try Pinterest, a general Google search, or visit your library and find some books on epic photographers throughout the times. Let's go ahead and break that routine even further. Let's say you typically shoot your portraits on an 85mm lens. Well, now throw on a 50 or a 24 and see how that affects your creative process as you're shooting portraits and what kind of images you turn out. If you really want to push breaking your routine, change your subject matter altogether. If you're typically a portrait photographer, go out and shoot landscapes for a week or two, or go out and shoot street photography. Do that for a while, come back and see how it's influenced your portraits. It's time to move on to the final and most important step in this entire process. It's time to start creating again, but this time with a little bit more perspective. Don't go out there and try and imitate another artist that you've seen, because ultimately you're going to compare your work and you're going to be disappointed in what you've come up with. Everybody has their own unique signature. Go out there with the intention of shooting the best portrait that you have shot and not a portrait that measures up to the standards of somebody else. When you do that, you're going to start seeing the improvements that you've made in your art. You also need to be aware of not setting your ambitions too high. When you set something so lofty that you feel like you might fail, you're less inclined to go out there and start. So like I mentioned before, don't go out and try to compare to somebody else, but try and create the best artwork that you have up until that point. And that's the process that I follow when I feel I need to boost my creativity. I start taking notes, I set an intention, I look for inspiration, I break my routine, and then I go out there and start creating again. And once I start creating momentum as well. I go out, I shoot, I come back, I edit, I look at my footage, I review it, I think to myself, well, this is good, this is bad, this is where I want to improve, this is what I want to do again, except better. I'm really curious to hear what your guys' process is and what you do when you find yourselves in a creative slump. Let me know in the comments below. If you found this video useful at all, give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel, as I'm going to continue rolling out this series on tips for creators and a whole bunch of other content that I feel might be useful to you. I'll catch you guys in the next video.